Welcome to my keynote. When talking to Henk about AI, I thought, well, what should the title of my talk be? Normally, I give talks about deep learning and ML.net. You can do a workshop today, twice actually, if you want. And we can have a chat about all sorts of technical things. And that's what I normally do. I'm just a developer like many of you are. But today, I'm going to talk about on a different side of AI. It will be less technical than normal for me. What I see when I look around the internet, and I browse a lot, trying to keep up with all the developments happening in AI. There may be scientific papers, there'll also be more business-related stuff. What are companies doing with the AI? And what I see is everyone is trying to get into the game of AI. Of course, Microsoft has a huge development in AI. They provide a lot of tools. But I've been talking to many companies over the past 2 years that want to start in AI. And you can see companies like OpenAI investing billions of dollars actually in finding the Holy Grail. There's a lot of stuff happening there. And there's also a lot of weird predictions happening in AI, if you ask me. This guy from Alibaba says, well, AI can lead to a 12-hour work week. Who wants a 12-hour work week? Not many people, actually. I'm surprised. I would want to have a 12-hour work week and then spend the rest of the week gaming or doing other important stuff. But this is a strange prediction, I think. Let's be honest, not many of you believe that this can happen. So the question is, why has it become so popular? I think there's three main things that are happening around us that have been happening the past few years that are interesting, and that's the reason why AI is so popular these days. So we've been able to store more data than ever. Yesterday I built a new computer for my home. I spent a little over 100 euros for 1 terabyte of disk space on an SSD even. A very fast one as well. The price per gigabyte is really, really low at the moment, so we can store lots and lots of data, and companies are getting better at storing data. I've had a number of discussions about this. Even last week I talked to a bank and they said, well, we want this new solution, but you should think about how to store the data and how to make it available to the rest of the company. So it's getting integrated everywhere. And this has been happening over a few years, and it keeps on growing exponentially, I think. Another very important development, I think, for AI specifically is cloud computing. I spent thousands of euros on a laptop. This is what you do when you want to start doing things like deep learning or machine learning. You spend a lot of power, a lot of money on power in your computer, but ultimately that's not going to be enough. Your laptop, your workstation is not enough to train AI models. The small ones you can do on your workstation, but we're building bigger and bigger and bigger models. So easy access to compute power is one of the key things I think that makes AI so interesting. So cloud computing is a key component in that. To be very honest, when I talk to a customer that wants to start using AI, the first thing I say, do you have access to Azure or Amazon or Google Cloud? Why? There's no other way to do it. I'm not going to do it on premise anymore. Of course, it brings challenges. What are you going to do with data, GDPR, privacy, all that stuff? But this is the way to go. Then, AI has actually been around for quite a while. 1972, around that year, they started building modern machine learning models. More the stuff that you see today. So it's pretty old. Deep learning is also pretty old. We've had a number of AI winters around deep learning already. In the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. And now, suddenly, everyone is on to deep learning, on reinforcement learning, all these very complicated algorithms to build models. So why is that? There's a number of breakthroughs that have happened over the years. People were able to better train a neural network than ever before. Not only thanks to more data and better compute power, but also because the algorithms got better and easier to use. Nowadays, you can spin up a cognitive service, upload a bunch of images, and you have yourself a deep learning model that recognizes images. and it only takes you about 20 minutes to set up. Try doing the same from scratch using things like Python and TensorFlow. It takes you weeks, months, maybe years to do so. But stuff got better, companies got better in providing these services to you. So nowadays, I think anyone can set up an AI project within minutes rather than weeks. Because of all this, because we have better data, better compute power, and better algorithms and better tools, AI is booming at the moment. And the expectations keep on growing and growing and growing. The owner of Alibaba just doesn't say this for nothing. He really thinks that this is going to happen, the 12-hour work week. We're going to cure cancer. I don't know. Are we going to cure cancer? I have a different view on that, which I will talk about during the rest of this talk. But it's certainly interesting to see what people are doing with AI at the moment. And of course, on the other side of the spectrum, so one group is saying, oh, AI is the holy grail, the silver bullet, the best since sliced bread. On the other side, there are people questioning this and saying, well, is it the best since sliced bread? Can we do everything with AI? Possibly no. My question then is, does it really have to be this science fiction idea? Do we really need a 12-hour work week? Do we really need a computer that automatically detects and cures cancer? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, but I do know that if you want to start using AI today, then this is a very important question. Does it really have to be science fiction? Or can we get closer to home? Can we do something simpler, maybe? So, I've got a cool game. I've got a book to give away. Survive with AI. It's a Dutch version. If you don't read Dutch, not to worry, I can order the English one as well. We're going to play a game of bingo, and it's a very short game. So what we're going to do is, I will give you 1 or 2 minutes to write down on your phone or on a piece of paper. I don't know if everybody has a phone, right? You can make notes on that. Cool, should be fine now. You get 1 or 2 minutes from me, let's say 2. Write down as many situations where you are using AI in your daily life, or you think you're using AI in your daily life. Then I will talk about a typical day that I go through during a work week. And the first person that has 5 matching samples wins. If it's a false bingo, you will have to sing. Just a friendly word of warning. No cheating. So, there we go. 2 minutes. Write down as many as you can. Or maybe try to remember them. A person can hold up to 7 things in memory, so it should be fine. Who has 5 already? A few people, cool. One minute remaining. We're almost there. Everybody got 5 at least? I think so. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at a typical day for me as a consultant. So the evening before I leave for a job, let's say I go to The Hague. Last week I was in The Hague 2 days. The evening before I actually go to places like Amsterdam, The Hague, that sort of thing, I will ask my telephone to set an alarm the next morning. In this case, it's 8 a.m. Normally, I start at 7. So that means that for The Hague, I have to leave at 6. But let's just assume that this works. This is using speech recognition, and it's using an intent detection algorithm to find out what I actually mean by saying this. Siri is nothing more than that. It's basically a chatbot, but it can do a lot more than your typical help desk chatbot. So speech recognition is in here, intent detection is in here, and that's actually a lot of AI. So I do have a Nest thermostat at home, and when I wake up, I usually, somehow I still have this weird tick, I would almost say. I approach the thermostat and I move my hand in front of it to see what it's on. Why is that? Well, the Nest thermostat, the first 2 weeks, you're constantly turning the wheel, setting the right temperature. But mine's been running for almost 5 years, and I never touch it. I sometimes wave in front of it, trying to get its attention. Hello, I'm here. I'm awake. And then it says, oh, it's 21 degrees and I'm still heating up, so don't worry about it. But it has the temperature set on time, so when I get downstairs, it's nice and warm. And it's using reinforcement learning to learn the schedule, actually, based on the first 2 weeks of turning the knob. And it uses information from external sources like weather data and location data to find out, should I power up the heater in the attic extra hard, or should I slow it down a little bit and take it easy? And during the summer, it will automatically detect, oh, I've got nothing to do because, yeah, it's warm, so never mind. So I use I use Spotify a lot, actually. I don't have any CDs anymore or MP3 files on my computer. I threw them away a few years ago because Spotify is one of those tools that really helps get the right music for the right job, let's say. I want to write code, I usually put up electronic music. It has an automatic playlist for me for that. It uses history of me listening to music to generate a model that automatically recommends music that might fit my mood at that moment. It uses deep learning to recognize patterns in music that I'm listening to make a profile of me as a person, and find the right music for me. So it does a mix of Coldplay, maybe some Red Hot Chili Peppers in there. I've got some electronic music in there. It knows what I listen to a lot. So then when I actually start the car and I leave my home, I always use smart navigation system. In this case, I'm using Waze. Waze has this intelligent algorithm. People can send notifications to Waze saying, well, here is an accident that happened, a road is closed, or there's a traffic jam, and Waze will find an optimal route for you to go to your work. And what's even cooler, when I leave in the afternoon for home, I fire up Waze and it will say, are you going home? And I'm like, yep, you are right. And it always has it correct. I don't know how it does that, because I travel all over the place in the Netherlands. It's not that I work from one spot and always leave at the same time. Somehow it knows. It uses recommendation models, it uses prediction models, complex graph computations. All sorts of AI are in this application actually to make your life better, to get home faster. Sadly, I don't own a Tesla. It's on my to-do list. But one of the cool things that many cars have today is automatic cruise control. It's adaptive. So I turn on my cruise control in my car and it will automatically detect cars in front of me and keep the right distance from them. Tesla goes even farther, and Tesla says, well, we're using cameras on your car to find out where you're driving and provide an autopilot function. It's not very far ahead at the moment. It does highways, and that's about it. If you have to go off the highway into the city, it will stop working. But it's helping me because I don't have to spend all my concentration and energy on driving a car. I can relax and my car does the job for me. Only when something happens and something exciting happens, then I have to take the wheel and take over control from the computer. But otherwise, it's a pretty boring job driving a car. So I'm happy a computer is using it, is using smart technology to solve the problem for me, to make it easy. This one has been very old. I get a lot of email during the day. At the moment, it's about 200, 250 per day, spread across 2 mailboxes, so it's quite busy. But I've got an intelligent filter in my email application that basically tells me these emails are important, all the others you can look at later. And it also filters out spam. So at work, we have a spam filter that's actually 5 filters in series that one after the other detects whether something is a spam email or not. It's getting more complicated each day because the people that send spam also get better, but it works. And it's been there for years, actually. So when I get home after work, I like to read some news. In this case, it's an article that's recommended by a recommendation algorithm to me. This might be interesting to you because you read a lot about AI. But it could also be an article about making a great curry or a chili, because I like cooking a lot. It knows what I do and what I like, and it provides me with content. What is also happening to me, sometimes, I get better at it. So I sometimes forget to set my Park Mobile or my parking app. Amsterdam has these cars with the cameras on top. What they do, they drive through the street and they automatically detect whether you have paid or not for parking spot. And I can tell you, the fines are pretty high. But it's a really cool technology. They don't have to have as many officers doing the work. And the officers are safer because they are inside the car. What happens sometimes is that they get assaulted by people that are angry because they get a ticket or a clamp on one of the wheels, or their car is towed or something like that. It's safer, it's faster, and cheaper to do it this way. So AI is basically everywhere, and when I order a book online or software or computer parts or something like that, I get to deal with recommendation engines again in my life. Bol.com has a recommendation engine to show, bingo, hooray! You will get the book later. I've got it in the back, so cool. Congratulations. So Bol.com has a recommendation engine that helps me decide which product to get. So when I'm looking for books, it will automatically recommend books that might be relevant to me. But it's not too much in the sense that I can still search. And even search uses smart technology to make it better. Well, I ordered this book and no, I didn't like it, so I want to return it. Google has this very cool customer service thing where they use a chatbot. Chatbots are also 100% AI. Where you're using a simple chatbot or a more complex one, this is what it's all AI. Even your car has AI in it for personal assistance. So you can connect your phone to your car and you can use your personal assistant to basically drive home and say, I want to drive home, and it will find a route for you. Autocomplete, also AI. It recognizes the words that you use normally and terms that you use, and it will automatically provide a sample for what you need. Trading, we could say, well, someone's behind the computer and makes a decision whether or not to invest in a company, but that's not true anymore today. People are using smart bots that do the trading for them. And they get better and better every day. Personal health trackers, who has one? Who has a personal health tracker? Step counter in your phone, or a wristband that measures your heart rate. It's all based on AI, actually. What you can do, you can shake your phone and it will be as if you're walking. It's a slightly stupid AI, but it's an AI. It tries to detect whether you're walking, running, or maybe rowing or swimming or something like that, and it will automatically count the steps for you, or how many kilometers, how many steps you took on the stairs. It all does that using AI. Because the sensors in there are a gyroscope and a few other things, those can't detect steps on their own. Netflix? Who's watching Netflix or Disney? Many of you do. Recommendations. What do we think of the recommendations of Netflix? Terrible, yeah. Do you have any idea why that is? Yeah, that's one thing, yeah. That can throw off an AI as well. Any other ideas? Yeah. Their data set is limited, and they also can't follow everything. Basically, they haven't found the recipe for what you like to watch. Not yet, at least. So, and there's conflict of interest here. They want to push their own shows as well. But when you look very carefully at the homepage, and this is an older version of that, they have different types of recommendations. These shows are trending. Everyone likes this, so why don't you watch this? You seem to like this topic very much. Here's some more. And so they are trying different things, actually, to build the right recommendation system. This one has Alexa, you have Cortana as well, Google Home. These are smart home assistants. I use this at home as well. And the funny thing is, my 3-year-old son sometimes yells at Google, okay, Google, turn off the lights. Because, yeah, that's what mommy and daddy are doing. So I will try as well. And he's discovering that he can play music on the thing as well. My son has never touched a computer, actually. He doesn't like computers at all. He'd rather play outside. So that's funny that he's using AI. So as you can see, AI is basically everywhere already in our lives. We can't stop it anymore. We can say, ooh, we've got very high expectations, but we're already meeting them, actually, if you ask me. There's all sorts of tools that we use, we find very normal to use, that are actually empowering us to do more in our daily lives. So I want to leave you with one final recipe, since we are already in an AI society, in an AI time frame. I want to give you a recipe for what I think will help us to move forward in a good way. One of the key things that I always look at when I start building an AI algorithm, does it empower humans? Actually, let me explain. So let's say you have to go to the hospital because there might be something wrong with you. You might have cancer. You don't know yet, the doctor has to look at it. So this doctor will take a look, and in 87% of the cases he has it right. Does that sound good? It's better than nothing still. This is what we accept as normal. Using AI, we can build a model that uses input data from different doctors across the world, maybe thousands, and put together all this experience in a single model. We're asking a bunch of doctors to submit X-ray images of things that might look like cancer. And they've classified whether that's cancer or not. They might get it wrong. They have an 87% accuracy, so those pictures will be wrong as well. Doesn't matter. We're collecting experience from people. And we put this together in a single model. And what happens, this model is 95% accurate. It's better than humans. And this is what I mean by empowering humans. This doctor alone, it's impossible for him or her to catch every case of cancer. But by using AI as a smart technology, we can improve how he does his work. Are we going to replace this doctor? No, we're not. We're not going to replace him or her. That's absolutely not what I mean by using AI. This doctor has the final say in what it is. The computer might get it wrong as well. There's a 5% chance that the computer has it wrong as well. So we still do need this doctor to make the final decision and to talk to you as a human being. He or she can use the model to get a fast insight in what's happening with you, but then he has more time to spend with you to talk about options for treatment, maybe how you feel, all that stuff that's important to us as a human. So we're using AI to strengthen people. The second ingredient I think is also very important is include everyone. You've seen the videos this morning about seeing AI. I like that initiative quite a lot. I think that AI can help to include more people in the society to enable them to get a job, do something fun, get out more, basically, not be alone. We're very bad at being alone, apparently, as humans. So one of the cool projects that I've seen and talked to actually a few people that are working on this guy made a model for recognizing hand signs. So I don't have the video here, but he can use sign language in front of a webcam, and the computer will recognize what he's saying, and it will translate it to speech. I don't do sign language at all. So if I've got a deaf colleague or I meet someone that uses sign language, I have a hard time. This includes me in the conversation that I have with this person. But moreover, this person can make him or herself heard in their own language that they use. That's pretty cool, I think. So finally, I think it's important to respect the environment. I can do a whole talk on CO2 and neutral and all that stuff. That's not what I mean by this. That's the little things. So what happens now is people are starting to build more and more complicated models, sometimes a little bit over the top, too much. I think if you want to empower humans today and you want to do this to include someone, you can use very simple models for that. It doesn't have to be science fiction to do that. And I like it when people start looking at solutions to reduce the amount of data we need to train a model, thus reducing the compute cost, thus reducing the amount of money spent on building this model, thus making the technology more available to everyone that want to use this technology. So that's my recipe for a better future for AI. Because we're already there with the tools. You've seen it this morning in the videos from Microsoft. You'll see that everyone's on there. And I think these three ingredients: empower everyone, include everyone, and be nice to the environment. This is, for me, the key to a better AI future. If you have any questions, I'll be around. You can ask me questions. You can also send me an email. You can contact me on Twitter. I'm Willem, a Microsoft AI MVP, and I would like to thank you for your time.